Hey Crafty Babes, Andrea here to give you a little tutorial on how to use those amazing free printables you get with your subscription email to Gossamer Blue. Let's get started! Alright, step one is going to be to convert the PDFs to a PNG. The printables come in two formats, PNG pieces individually and a print-ready PDF. To use our Silhouette software, we need PNG files. So we're going to start by opening up a Photoshop or Photoshop Elements program in order for you to do the conversion. So open the file first, and then you're going to go navigate towards the two PDF files that come with your Dropbox download. And once they open, then you're going to just make sure you have both of your PDFs open in your window. So the first thing you're going to do is do File, Save As, and when it pops up as the Save As box, you're just going to change the file type from PDF to PNG. That's actually going to add the word copy into the name of your file. If that's okay with you, then you can leave it, or you can change the name of the file. Okay, and then when it asks you about interlace, you're going to say OK. The next step is going to be to import into the Silhouette Studio software. So go ahead and open up a new 8.5 by 11 page, navigate to the registration mark section at the top right toolbar, and then drag the sliders all the way to the left for all of the options so that you're allowed the maximum amount of space on your page. And then next, let's navigate to the library. It's the book icon on the left toolbar. From here, drag and drop or import your two PNG images into your library. For me, I create a new folder for each different file that I use, so I'm importing them into a separate folder so that I can go back to them when I know where they are. So once they load, we'll be able to select them by double-clicking, and they will, one of them at a time, will show up on our 8.5 by 11 page. From here on out, we'll be working on just one page at a time, so everything after this step can be repeated for the second file. So once our image is placed on the page, we're going to resize it. So we're going to pull from the corners. Always pull from the corners or you're going to upset the ratio of the actual shape. So pull from the corners and make sure you're keeping all of your images inside the red cut square. Okay, once our image is the size that we would like, we're going to navigate to the trace section at the top right toolbar. I think it looks like a piece of toast, so maybe that'll help you find it. Click on the Select Trace Area option, and then drag from the top left corner all the way to the bottom right corner so that you cover all the shapes that you'd like to be cut. Then release the mouse, and you end up with some blotchy yellow muck. Deselect the high pass filter and select the low pass filter. That level should be at 1. The threshold usually needs to be in the upper 90s, but click up and down using the arrows to get everything really nice and crisp. The scale should be around 10. Now, these settings are not exact for every computer, so play around with it until your edges are as sharp as possible. Once your edges are clean, then we're going to navigate up to the Trace Outer Edge option and click that. The yellow edges go away and you're left with red cut lines around each image. And this is the point where you will want to print your page. So just print it right from the Studio software to your desired printer. It'll not print the cut lines. It will ensure that your cut lines match up with your shape. So after this point, don't adjust or move any shapes or cut lines. So I'm repeating the steps on the second printable because I want to show you what happens when some of the shapes are of a lighter color and the trace lines don't show up as crisp as some of the others. So as you can see here, just don't mind my crazy software. I have to spin this thing around in order for it to recognize the whole page. But as you can see, some of the circles and that tag on the left, there's no outer edge for it to recognize. So what I'm going to show you here is how to get around doing that. And you're going to have to basically do your cut area in smaller sections. So here what I'm going to do is just do the top labels, but what I also noticed was that the one on the very top right also doesn't have a clean outer edge. So I'm going to zoom in super close and get up to, I'm just going to show you I'm actually going to show you the circles because the circles were a problem too. So I'm just going to show you how you can grab just certain elements in sections and do them by themselves. And I decided the easiest way to do the circles was to actually create a circle shape. So I just made a circle shape, made it the correct size, and then copied and pasted the same size circle shape for the remaining 2 circles. Be careful when you're trying to grab that circle cut line. It automatically wants to move your elements. So just be careful, and you can always Control Z to undo what you've moved. And then I'm going to do a rectangle for these other rectangle shapes so that I don't have to select the cut area or the trace area. It's just easy enough to just drag right over. And I'm going to do that for the tag as well. And then when I get it printed, and it's just going to cut the square, and then I'll just take my scissors and snip the 2 sides at an angle. And just find that that's easy enough to do and not a big problem. So then the rest of the page at the bottom, none of those had any issues. They were all dark enough for the trace area to recognize, so I'm just going to start from the top of those elements and drag down to the bottom and repeat the trace area, high pass, low pass, all of those settings as we did in the previous section. And the settings will be slightly different, so just play around with them until you find that the outer lines are clean. And then when you cut, the yellow goes away. Remember, the red lines come in. And then what happens is, do you see that there's some extra cut lines at the bottom of those circles? That's because the trace area went into those shapes. So what we're going to do is zoom in, and I'm going to remove the compound path so that it separates all the cut lines into separate pieces. And then that way I can select them individually and get rid of them. And all I'm doing is, when I am able to select that one specific piece, I just hit delete on my keyboard. And then you don't have all these extra ugly little cut pieces. It's actually going to end up cutting stuff out of the bottom of your circle, and we definitely don't want that. Okay, we're ready to cut. You can navigate to the cut settings section, make sure your silhouette's connected to your computer by USB, and set the settings for the paper you're using. So depending on what works best for you and the storage that you like, you could print these stickers on sticker paper and keep them on a sheet instead of having them all cut out into smaller elements. It's up to you. You just choose the different paper in the material type. You can also adjust how deep you want the cut or how slow or fast you want it to cut out. They're fairly standard settings here, so you can click on Send to Silhouette whenever you're ready, and you can watch the magic happen. I hope that this has been informative for you, helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'd be happy to answer questions about your silhouette, maybe some troubleshooting, but I hope that you end up with beautiful elements like these without sore hands from cutting them out with your scissors. So if you have a silhouette, put it to use, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.